Hey everybody, welcome back. Last week, the Wall Street Journal published an article online called Dumb Phones and Fax Machines Are the New Boss Flex. And in the article, they follow different CEOs and entrepreneurs. One in particular, he uses a Punkt device, which is a very popular dumb phone out there in the market. And he talks about he only checks his email a few times a day, and everybody at the company knows this. It's hard to get a hold of him. And all of the junior employees don't have that luxury because they have to be available. If their boss calls them, it's expected that they're going to answer the phone and they're going to check their emails consistently. They're going to be on Slack and available, all those things. And in the article, he's quoted as saying, "Lucky for me, I'm the boss." And I don't want to presume the tone of this article. I don't know if that was in a jest manner. I don't know. But it made me think about this idea of, is using a dumb phone pretentious? All right, so let's talk about this for a minute. Does owning a dumb phone make you pretentious? Let's get the literal definition out. Oxford defines pretentious as attempting to impress by affecting greater importance, talent, culture, etc. than is actually possessed. So, in a literal sense, no, owning a dumb phone does not make you pretentious. But I do think you can be perceived as pretentious, and I'm going to give you some ways that you can avoid that. And you definitely, and this is something we all have to come to grips with, we are definitely privileged. Because just like the example that I gave in the earlier article, the CEO at the top had different luxury than the person at the junior bottom spot. So a lot of us start at the bottom spot, right? And we have to work our way up. And so we don't necessarily have that luxury. But I pray to God that you don't always stay a junior employee and that you can find work environments and find work and find people that value you to where you can build workflows and things that work for you, because people will work with you a little bit if you are good at your thing, you're getting better, you're humble, and you are willing to adapt to the systems a little bit, but also be on your game. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. So stay tuned. I'm going to give you some ways to not be perceived as pretentious with being a dumb phone owner. I also wanted to mention another example from that article, which, by the way, the article will be linked below. So after you watch all of my videos and buy everything that I've ever mentioned, go read that article in the Wall Street Journal. And in that article, he also cites this example of this CEO who runs a software company, and the software is literally an app that you can send messages and they disappear, right? And so we're all familiar with that concept. And what's funny to me is he himself has a fax machine, and that's like how he messages people. And he literally says he claims it's more secure than email, which we're not even going to talk about that part of it today. The fact that all of our data is just everywhere, and like we're so screwed, but whatever. So funny. I'm not there yet with the fax machine thing. I don't even know how to send a fax. I've sent like 2 in my life, and it's clunky, but what a flex to have a freaking fax machine. Another person in the article talks about having a pager and how they grew up watching like the ER doctor shows and those people having the pagers, and like, how cool is that? And they finally got to have one as a doctor, and how when they go out in public and they have their pager, people just know that they're a doctor. They're just like, "Good morning, doctor," even if they're just like at a coffee shop or something, because of the pager, and how big of a flex that is. But it's really interesting because the person in that situation talks about it's such a better way for people in the medical field to have a pager, because essentially they're not being bombarded with texts. Because think about it, if you're on call as a doctor, an ER doctor, and you're getting texts and emails and calls and notification sounds, how that could totally mess up your psyche. And every time you hear something, you're gonna think, oh my God, what's going on? And your body would just be in this like fight or flight all the time. But having that pager, it kind of segregated that those notifications. So it's like, when this pager goes off, I know something's up. But yeah, I don't have the pager. I don't have the fax machine. That's pretty cool tech. obviously, but it's really interesting how that's become like literally a status symbol. But it's so funny. We're at this place where, yes, it's a privilege. No, you don't have to be pretentious. I personally have always been labeled as quirky and hipster no matter what I do. Like the things that you like, enjoy them because you enjoy them. Don't like them because other people like them because you like them. And people might call you hipster, whatever. Who cares what they think? But I do want to give 5 practical ways that you can own a dumb phone well and not be viewed as pretentious. But really the better reason is because this will help you be a good professional worker. And that whether you're a freelancer, whether you work with an organization, these are 5 tips to help you get ahead and stay focused with the dumb phone. Number 1, have a legit task board, something that's not your email inbox, something that's not your to-do list on your piece of paper, digitally, that you can put everything on there so everything's logged and nice and organized so you know what projects are looming out there, what the status of them are, and so that way you can always be sure you're not going to miss something. Nothing's going to drop through the cracks, because at the end of the day, if you own a dumb phone, you do have to still be on your game. So if you're going to make that choice, people will be quick to dismiss using something like that if you're not on your game. Number 2, get yourself a pocket notebook like this, pop that in your pocket, and take notes as you go in different interactions that you have throughout the day, different status updates, different tasks that come up, make notes. Also, any important appointments, things like that, get them into here. And then also, if you don't have notifications on your device, like set an alarm, get yourself a wristwatch, set your alarms and your notifications throughout the day. I like to look at everything I got going on and give myself like a 10-minute heads up. So if I can log in like 5 alarms for the day, I know at 10 till 1, I got to go meet XYZ, whatever. It's good to have. Number 3, status updates. This is really relevant for people that are lower in the food chain, as it were, in the corporate world. So if you're lower in the food chain, status updates are pivotal. This is where you get with your superior and you go, hey, here's what I'm working on today. I'll be checking in at these times to see if there's any updates on this. I'll keep you updated, blah, blah, blah. Are we good? Great. Then you can do the next step in this equation, and that is having out of office notifications. Doesn't mean you're literally out of office, but the idea of an out of office notification or an away status. And when someone tries to ping you, it just literally says, hey, I'm working on XYZ task until this time period. It's pretty spectacular. But you can't skip ahead to 4 without number 3. So you can't have out of office without doing status updates with people that are decision makers, that people you are dependent on, and people that depend on you, so that you can't just go dark for a long period of time. I even do this with my spouse. I'll send a text like, hey, I'm working on XYZ video. I'm going to be on airplane mode until this time. Love you. Peace. And they know that if they want to physically come in here and get me, they can. But otherwise, I'm incommunicado. Capiche? Number 5, be good at what you do and constantly be improving. Doesn't matter if you're the best right now, but you need to be always getting better and better, because people like employees that improve over time. And there's really no such thing as being stagnant. Like, you're just going to get progressively worse. If you stay here and everybody else goes here, you get worse. If you mix all these 5 points together, over time, you will be perceived as not someone who is pretentious, but that someone is very organized and disciplined and cares about the thing. So make sure you're doing that. You're caring about the thing, you're caring about the people around you, and you're being a humble person. And all these things will work together. So I would love to hear in the comments below what you think, if you feel like owning a dumb phone is pretentious, or if it's just privileged, or where you fall on the spectrum. I love you. Namaste. We'll see you on the next one.